welcome to this week's video where Jojo Siwa shall not be doing my voiceover today. We are going to be doing another drawing today. But first, do you just have way too many markers? Do you just throw them into a container because you're too lazy for those fancy things? Do you struggle every time to find colours to use for your picture and the colour swatch on the cap just never matches the colour it makes on the paper? Like, seriously, this is two different colours. Have you ever made an okay looking swatch sheet but you lost it because you're too lazy to put it back in its proper spot? Same here, my peeps, but don't worry, there is a solution for that. A swatch sheet. But I already lost the other one. Why don't I just leave? Who cares? Let's make this! I go ahead and organize the markers to be in color groups. I just went with pink, red, orange, yellow, green, light and dark blue, purple, skin tones, and blacks, greys, and whites. The paper I used is small, only an A5. It's kinda thick paper that I have a lot of and don't care much about. I used that instead of my good fancy paper. Because of the paper's smallness, I took two of those color groups and put them together to have two color groups on one paper. I put pink and red together, orange and yellow together, green and purple together, light and dark blues together, and lastly, skin tones and blacks, greys and whites together. I finished watching all the colours as well as writing down the number from the markers as I went. I was finally donezo and ready to put them to the test on this week's beautiful person drawing. But before I can use those markers, I need to do those outlines. I used a thin outliner for this, so we'll blend in with the colouring, and some other stuff I shall add later. Ooh, mysterious. Makes you want to keep on watching to find out what I do, doesn't it? Well, keep watching because we are finally using those markers and adding colour to that skin. Looking good. And my markers are absolutely not drying out or anything. I wanted it to do that. Absolutely. And of course, the marker I wanted to use for the main skin tone didn't work. So after a mini panic, I tried a few other colours and ultimately going with this blue one. It was darker and saturated than what I was originally going to go with, but it was a marker that worked, so I had to make it work. And the same thing happened with the highlight colour as well. It was just so dry. That one too, I had to use a darker, more saturated colour. Because of the change of colours, I needed to change up my approach to colouring this in. Just making sure the colours would work well together. I'm pretty sure I was just doing whatever and hoping it would turn out looking okay. Now time for those peepers. Originally trying to go for a greeny blue colour, a mixture of colours used on the skin, but in the end they turned out more green. I'm not going to be using any coloured pencils in this drawing. The reason being the pencils leave a waxy finish to the drawing. It's not a bad thing, but for this drawing we don't want that. We want the drawable surface you still have even after using these markers. We still need it drawable because I just do, okay? I don't want to give any spoilers for what I'm adding to it. You'll just have to wait and see. Oh, I'm fixing up these red eyes, adding different reds, oranges, and purples. Now it's time for that lovely smile. Starting with those teethuses. Giving them just a little tint of green and then adding some shadowing. Then panicking that they are too dark and green, so going over each tooth with a colourless blender and seeing some magic as the colour flows around. Obviously this person needs some purple lips, so they are coloured in next, before adding in red as a base colour for the inside of the mouth. For me to use a almost black but not quite black to be scribbled around. It is kind of cool that I went from a solid red and just by scribbling on top with an almost black but not quite black, it gave the mouth depth. Wow, art is so magical. Okay, this hat was kinda rough to colour. With the red band, I just struggled to leave enough light colour in the centre while also trying to give it dark shadows. And the darkest red I had wasn't dark enough. So I had to bring back the almost black, but not quite black, and tried to blend it a bit with the red so it wasn't so jarring. The rest of the hat as well. The lightest grey just did not want to work, and the main colour was only barely working, just deciding to give up. I used the darker colors that I had to try and fix it because apparently they are the only markers that want to work. The light spot just kept on getting smaller and darker. I tried. The time has come. To this drawing, I shall add
Scribbles all over this thing, no area unscribbled, I shall cover it all.
With a signature that you can't even see, and many more hidden around the piece. It is finally finished. It's so creepy. I love it. I really like the colors that I ended up using for it and how they just go together so well. And the scribbles. Oh, the scribbles. It just gives it more of that creepy effect that I was really going for. I just love when an idea comes out how I want it to. Thanks for watching this here video. Give that subscribe button a little tickle for me, and while you're at it, also give that like button a little tickle as well. They'll really appreciate it. So would I. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.